All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Belly Up Sports TV, presented by 3Y TV. I'm Santina here with you for the ERSCA Belly Up Sports Series. Race at Dover here on Monday night. The SR Designs 140, and it's the return of the Xfinity B car here in the ERSCA Series. We'll have David Westergreen joining us here in the booth in just a moment. But it's Dom Santina here on the call with you tonight for this one, as we are getting ready for our qualifying session to begin, wrapping up our practice session right now. Another race here in the season. David, welcome into the booth. How you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Doing all right a little bit. Just ready for some good old Xfinity car action. I think I'm a little sad to see the COT go, but I am excited to be back in the booth tonight.
It was fun having you in the car last week as an in-race reporter, but glad to have you back up here in the booth. We were talking while you were racing last week, David, that some guys might come to the forefront that have struggled early this season, might now be contenders to pick up race wins.
Yeah, I think even though he did get a race win, I think this falls squarely into Ryan Lutz's hands. Getting that win at Richmond was good for him, but he was low down in the points overall. I think this really enables him to, be able to start that title defense a little bit better off. The COT was a little bit more of an equalizer that kind of took him out of the running a little bit. So I expect to see him back up there. And then, of course, our pro edge guys, Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle, both of them are threats anytime you get into an Xfinity car, and they'll certainly be contenders the rest of the way.
Yeah, so as we come into this one here tonight, last week, Nick Indelicato picking up the win, put him on top of the points. Cameron Rich, Kwame Scott in second and third, both with a win each, and then it's Tate Lytle and Ethan Burrell wrapping up your top five in points as we come into this week. So we'll see who can pick up a win here. And we also made history last week. I believe it's 7 for 7 in different race winners. I think that's the longest stretch in ERSCA history. So we'll see if we can continue that tonight as well.
And Delicato picking up his first win, and he's always tough in these Xfinity cars or in the COT. Tate Lytle came very close to winning two different races this year, both Daytona and Auto Club. Came up short both times. He'll look to go ahead and get the monkey off his back and kind of break this winless streak. I'm also interested to see how some of our COT guys jump in and run this Xfinity car. Mark Whitley's been up front for a large portion of the year, I'm not even sure if Worrell or Holzer even carried over and are running the Xfinity car now. I know we had some guys leave because they were not so interested in running the Xfinity car. They had joined for the COT.
Well, one guy that has run the COT car really well is also sitting on top of the charts here early in qualifying. That's Hank Steinmiller in the 63. He's at the top of the charts right now with the 23.69. So he's carrying over right away, and your points leader in Delicato sits second. And one of the favorites, as David mentioned now, Ryan Lutz, third quickest.
Hank's good in these Xfinity cars too. He's good in just about everything you put him in. I anticipate that a lot of these guys are going to. We're going to see a lot of those guys that we saw last year really step back up. Nick Massey, Cameron Rich. Some of them we saw both excel in both of the types of cars, the Xfinity and the COT. I think there'll be a bigger gap for some of these guys like Lutz, like Rich, that are just good in everything. Now, the Xfinity car tends to lend itself better to guys who are a little more familiar with it. And I know those guys are, given that they just ran the full season last year, with obviously Ryan Lutz picking up the championship. I wonder if it'll really affect guys like Kwame Scott, who were running very well and, in fact, winning a race at Atlanta with that COT car. Now he's switching back to the Xfinity car, where he was more of a mid-pack type of driver. I envision that he'll be looking to, maybe take some steps in this Xfinity car. Also got some new people back for the first time. Brad Fulham, back in for the first time, I should say. Brad Fulham in the 54. Wesley Crump in the 16. I believe he's related to Scott Crump. And then I know Daniel Martinez is here in the 9 car. He was not driving intentionally to avoid the COT car. He'll be back this week for the Xfinity car, and he'll be there the rest of the season driving in the fueled up racing stable.
Definitely will shake some things up here as we go throughout the season with different guys in here now. And like we said, expect to see some of our more common names back up to the front, especially some of those guys from last season. So we're just waiting to wrap up practice here just a little bit, or qualifying.
Andy Trupiano stepping over to the Xfinity car. I'll be interested to see if he can keep up that speed. He was rather quick in the Xfinity or in the COT cars. And we'll do our 3-lap heat to ensure that 43 cars get to the feature. It looks like 42 drivers have entered the field tonight, so we will be sending nobody home. All right, I'm going to grab a glass of water. So, Dom, why don't you bring up the first guy, and I'll be back with you momentarily.
All right, we'll look at bringing somebody into the booth here. And hold on one second, pull them up. I think we might try to go for Discord want to work. We'll go with maybe our pole sitter, Scott Crump. See if we can bring Scott up here into the booth with us. Scott, this is Dom up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4.
All right, man. You come up here. Must already be loving the change here to the Xfinity car. Fastest in qualifying here. Going to sit on the pole. How's it feel out there tonight here at Dover?
It feels pretty good. I mean, I think Dover owes me one. I started on the pole last time we were here in ERSCA, and I think I led like every lap except like the last 20 laps. I got caught up in an accident like 14 seconds ahead of second place, and I don't know. Just see if we can finish this race this time.
Well, got to feel like a fresh start here, switching over to the Xfinity car here this weekend. Know you feel a little bit more confident, have had some better runs here in this one. We look forward to seeing you up front, and hopefully you can finish this one off tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we can have a good race and everything go our way here. All right, thank you.
Yeah, all right. Good luck tonight, Scott.
All right, thanks.
All right. We'll see who else. Let David get a. David, you back?
I'm back. Let's get somebody else up here. Let's get like Tate Lytle up here. Tate Lytle in the booth. It's David. You got a copy?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Tate, who do you think's gonna win this little heat race here? And then you got anything for him later tonight?
I got Goody plus 500, and I don't know. I'm pretty good. I feel like I run pretty good here, but terrible qualifying run. Almost wrecked it off too. So could be starting pretty deep, and it's not that long of a race. So I don't know. We'll just see where we could put it, and hopefully come out with another good points day. But yeah, man. I didn't think I would be, but I'm kind of excited to be back in the B car.
Yeah, what's the change in your approach here coming into this race with the B car versus the COT? Less practice, or more focused on aggressiveness, or trying to keep care of the tires, or what are you focusing on tonight?
I'm gonna try to get some track position, but I mean, I've got enough experience in these B cars. I'm not really worried about the lack of practice. Granted, I should have ran a few laps, so I wouldn't be starting 28th. But
you're busy winning a race, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Indy, yeah. But I don't know. As long as we don't get caught up in something, we should be fine. But
Sounds good, buddy.
I think if I was a betting man on the big race, I'd go. Let's see. I gotta go like Nick Massey, probably like plus 1250. It's probably I'd be putting 100 on Nick Massey plus 1250. I think that's kind of what I'm feeling here.
Gotcha, Tate. Well, thank you, sir.
And also,
good luck up there tonight.
I don't think you're going to be with where I qualify, but don't pick me.
Okay.
Yeah. Have fun, guys.
Never would. Later, buddy. All
right, well,
Tate Lytle.
I think that brings up a good point here. Getting ready to heat race is finished up. I think that brings us to a good point. Do we want to make our picks here for tonight?
Let's do it. Who's first? Somebody's got to take Cameron Rich so Carlos can't do it. For once.
Okay.
Let's see. Tate Lytle picked Nick Massey. You know, he keeps telling me to pick him, so I'm gonna keep doing it. Ryan Lutz, 36 car, defending the championship back in the B car. He's gonna love this thing. He's gonna save his tires. He's gonna run right up front all day. I'm picking the 36, Ryan Lutz.
I'm going to go with our pole sitter mostly because I just talked to him. Last time we were here, he sat on the pole but caught up in something. He's been looking for something to go his way. I think this change in car is going to be it. Scott Crump is going to take the win tonight.
Run through the rest of the starting order after the pole sitter Scott Crump.
Hold on,
Hank
guys.
Steinmiller starting
I haven't made
second.
my picks.
Oh well, I'll be shocked with your pick.
I
Let's
think
see.
I'm gonna pick Cameron Rich.
I'm shocked. And a good pick as always. Rich is super solid in these things. Starting lineup now as we finish off our picks there. Scott Crump, Hank Steinmiller, Nick Indelicato, Kwame Scott with a P4, Ryan Lutz 5th, Mark Whitley 6th, Cooper Johnson 7th, and Garen Turner is 8th, another one of the COT entrants that has shifted over. Matthew Bayuk 9th, and Chris Worrell in 10th. We'll take a look through the rest of the top 10. I look for Josh Adams to maybe get more comfortable with this car and have some better results going forward.
Yeah, there's Tate Lytle, who we talked about starting in 28th. Johnny Thomas will start one row in front of him there in 26th. Deshaun Duro starts all the way back in 33rd.
Coming off of the win in the heat race for Zisha. Ethan Burrell starting 24th. I envision that those Pro Edge cars of the 37 and the 56 will be on their way to the front all race long. Pace car is off. Let's go green. Scott Crump hits the loud pedal. We are racing, and they're trying to wreck already. Steinmiller did not get a good start as Crump went early, and it'll provide a lane for the inside line with Indelicato and Lutz following Crump through.
The SR Designs 140 underway here at Dover. David, this is the real test we've been waiting to see, right? The drivers are complaining about wrecks in the car handling. How well will they handle the new transition? Will it be any different than a COT? We've seen it before on the racetrack, but we've seen rough nights here with the Xfinity car as well. Let's see how the opening race goes here tonight.
Huge lead for Scott Crump early, and I think that's a sticking point for sure as the caution waves early. And per usual, you got to wonder, was it some of that early aggression? And I think Josh Adams might have been involved in this. I can't quite tell who the blue car is there. No, Adams is okay. Might have been Andrew Trupiano. Let's go take a look. Trupiano's there in the 7, gets into the back of the 84, and it just sends Matthew Weeks into Ethan Burrell. I imagine some unpleasantries have been exchanged. Goodman involved in the checkup, so is Robert Hill, so is Adam Lichty. I think there was some blinking ahead too. There, maybe the 02 of Rawls. Oh, and the blue car shot down the track and just clobbered into Goodman and Robert Hill. I think that was Richard Hines, got on the brakes and it just shot down the track on him. On board with Matthew Weeks here. Oh yeah. I even wonder if there was a little bit of netcode there once the 7 car shot up the racetrack a little bit. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. That car reacted strangely, as though it were affected by some other force that was not the car below it.
So I think already one difference that we've seen here just in those first 3 laps, Scott Crump jumping onto that big race lead that we really never saw in the COT. Nobody was really ever to pull a massive gap on anybody. Kind of tucked together and kept it pretty respectable from first to second place most nights.
Right, and that was kind of the case, right? It was the back of the pack, the middle of the pack that was proving to be a little too aggressive there, and already we've seen a bit of that aggression, just guys too close, checking up late, entering the corners, and just a bit of a stack up. I don't know that that's particularly Trupiano's fault, but that's the same kind of wreck we were seeing in the COT, where guys were all packed up early in the run. Somebody checks up a little bit early, and it just kind of stacks up and crashes altogether.
So we'll stack them back up. Lights out on the pace car, so we're going to get ready to go back green flag racing here in a little bit. Scott Crump got a massive jump on the opening start to the race over the field. We'll see if he's able to pull that again, or if these guys are ready to go this time and going to be able to stay with them on the restart here.
Oh, yeah. Got a message from Ryan Lutz. He noted that he lost his grandma earlier today, and he's racing for her. So he's looking for a win for grandma. And I didn't even know that before I picked him, but now I think that 36 is going to be driving with a little extra determination tonight. See if Lutz can learn anything from that previous Crump restart. He went very early while they were still in the corner. This time he waits. Now he goes.
Not as much of a jump that time, but Nick Indelicato might get the benefit out of this one. He's going to dive to the inside of Lutz.
You can hold on the outside, and Lutz does. He powers around the 0-1. I know Indelicato likes to save his tires in this B car. That's almost certainly what he's doing. You can see they're kind of stacked up behind him here. Indelicato just trying to underdrive the car early in the run. And when you have this top 3 track position, you are very, very capable of holding people back in order to preserve your tires and then let it come to you as the long run goes. Ryan Lutz is looking for the lead. Crump overdrives it. Lutz to the inside.
The defending season champion on the throttle here early. Looking to the inside, see if he can make it stick. Try to take over this race lead.
If we know anything about Ryan Lutz, we know that he is the guy who loves to be in the lead. That's where he saves tire the best. He's able to do it faster than anybody else. He'll clear Scott Crump entering turn 1, and something the field has not wanted to see all season. Ryan Lutz out there in the lead trying to defend that championship.
And he will try to pull away here from Scott Crump. Crump trying to hang with him now, but it's a matter of if Crump can save tires or if he's going to use them up, trying to stick with that 36 car as Lutz starts to pull away just a little bit, puts about 3-4 car lengths in between him and Scott Crump as Nick Indelicato sits there in third trying to close in on this back.
Mark Whitley has settled into 4th. Kwame Scott settling into 5th. Single file all the way back deep into the field. Pretty much the whole field now single file, just a couple of passes being made per lap, but really this is a gigantic train of cars trying to click laps off and get in a rhythm here around Dover. As you see, big struggles there from, I believe that's Dylan Thomas in the purple car.
This is what we saw last week. Guys kind of settled in here for a long green flag stretch. Would love to see it here again. Makes it fun trying to figure out race strategy if we get into a green flag stretch. It looks like the group is content to do that here early on.
I think they're not super content. Hank Steinmiller all over the back bumper of Kwame Scott. He's going to jump underneath him for 5th. That's the battle on track right now. Is Steinmiller and Scott. They are letting that front 4 pull away. Cooper Johnson sitting behind Hank. That's a couple of teammates there. Riding in behind as Scott tries to hold Hank off.
Hank has not been able to get it done yet. Still trying to take that inside line against Kwame Scott.
We ran a Dover race in the Xfinity car not long ago on Monday nights before this ERSCA race, and that inside line is very difficult to make a pass on. You can keep the outside wound up very well and drive off the corner and hold someone off, as Hank does finally clear Kwame, and all this.
Oh,
is
they're wrecking!
crash.
They're wrecking.
Garen Turner and Chris Worrell, and they're up in the middle of the groove. Cameron Rich, Joe Francis. and more. It's a classic Dover front straightaway accident. Cars hit the inside wall, they hit the outside wall, and now they're in front of everybody else. And that racing got going while Hank and Kwame were battling side by side. It kind of checked up those guys behind. And I was just about to say they were starting to get really racy because the side by side battle for sixth was kind of holding up those behind.
I think that took a couple cars out here tonight. Joe Francis took a hard hit coming through there, right? There's a big hit. Cameron Rich, probably done for the night.
Jared Rexing, we're going to need to see the onboard. My goodness. Yeah, that looked like the 20 just got a little bit loose down the straightaway, and that's definitely possible under power in this Xfinity car. Definitely has a lot of horsepower, but it's odd to see it after we've been running the COT car, which this is a wreck I would have expected from the COT. I mean, just down the straightaway, and Turner just didn't have anywhere to go. Cameron Rich.
Massive hit there for Cameron Rich. Francis had another one there in a minute, but a couple big hits for front runners up here today.
While we're on board with Jared Rexing, Kwame Scott has hit pit road, so has Gerald Campbell. Of the front runners, those were the only two. Rexing, there's nothing you can do. The smoke blinding, and whoo! Just sneaks around the outside of the spinning Francis car. And poor Joe Francis, I mean, nowhere to go. Cameron Rich, the same thing. Did Josh Adams avoid this wreck? I think he did. I think Josh Adams finally avoided him one. Jared Mogart did not, but that damage may be not super consequential to the right front of the zero car, our Daytona winner. Yeah, that car looks good. Josh Adams finally missed one. Here it is, on board with Josh Adams. They're shooting up into it, and he dives to the apron and avoids the carnage. Finally. It seems like it's been all season long that Josh Adams has just gotten swept up in any wreck that happened on track. Should we bring him up? Should we ask him how he feels to have gotten through one finally? Let's do it. I think we're good. I think we're 2 to go right now. Yep. All right, let's do it. Josh Adams, David in the booth, you got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Josh, how does it feel to finally get through a wreck for the first time all season?
Oh yeah, it's feels good.
You got anything for him here? I know you're pretty good here at Dover, but you like the long runs, so I know you're hoping that we single out here and run some laps.
Yeah, I think so. I think I got some good practice with the race in Elite here a few weeks ago. I think I was pretty good there, so it should translate.
All right, man. Well, good luck tonight, and hopefully you have that luck to keep dodging those wrecks.
Yeah, thank you.
And that was Josh Adams, who has had some of the worst luck I've ever seen to start this season. Seemed like he didn't like the car he was running, but that didn't seem to matter. He was just involved in every single wreck. Don't look now, Dom, but Nick Massey is already up to 8th. And that guy has been waiting for this car to come back for a while.
I don't want to mention him right now, but the car right behind him, I thought the jinx was going to be broken last week, and then about midway through the race, it continued.
Yep, you can read it. We'll do it. We won't say his name. We won't mention the car number. You guys know who we're talking about.
I was like, oh, David's not in the booth this week. He's having a solid run, and then I think with like 50 to go or something, he got involved and won again. So
we got to race a little bit there. It was nice. He didn't wreck around me, but I knew I was like, oh man, you got to watch out for that car. We won't say who. We'll see if we can we can unbreak the jinx here this season on that one machine that is running 9th. Otherwise, Ryan Lutz still has the race lead. Let's see how he restarts with the lead this time. It'll be the 3rd restart of the day. I called it a little early. The pace car hasn't gone off just yet. And now it has, and Lutz goes as soon as the pace car gets off, and that'll result in a huge jump for Ryan Lutz.
Crump is able to slide down there in front of Nick and Delicato. Looks like Whitley, he's going to be held up on the high side here, might spot or two.
Now the outside is still pretty good in the early part of the run, but it's very strong late in the run. Hank Steinmiller, I think, is just fast. He qualified second, 63 cars, pretty good on these tracks that eat tires up. We saw that at Auto Club, and Hank jumps back up into fourth.
Cooper Johnson trying to look to crack the top 5 here. He's taking a peek underneath Whitley, but just hasn't been able to find the speed to get underneath him quite yet.
It's off of turn 2 there. Trying to clear Mark Whitley, and does. Hank Steinmiller, the Auto Club winner, up to fourth. Whitley to fifth. Johnson to sixth. Matthew Bayou covering in seventh.
Not so fast. Whitley going to dive underneath already, trying to take that fourth spot back away. Couldn't quite get there to the quarter panel, and he'll tuck back into fifth.
Wonder if Adams is serving a penalty. And, man, the announcer's jinx just continues on for us and for Josh Adams. Feel bad now. I don't know why he would have to come down pit road already. Well, maybe. Who knows? It's got to be a black flag serve, though. Regardless, the top 15 to 20 have singled out. And everyone's chasing Ryan Lutz, who has pulled away by 0.6 of a second from Scott Crump. He's 2 laps down. I think he got tires, actually. Maybe he had to serve the hold. He might have sped on. I don't know. He must have jumped the start or changed lanes or something on the restart. It's about the only thing I can think of that would be an instant penalty here at ERSCA.
Unfortunate break there for Josh Adams.
Carlos is testing our ability to comment what's on screen by placing the same car on screen and trying to have us broadcast around it.
Yeah, he's really, look at Matthew Bayuk there up in front of that car. And then you got Nick Massey behind it.
Doing our best. Quick update on the progress of some of the guys who went and got tires on that last stop. Kwame Scott is now 19th on the grid. He's climbed from about 26th, so up +7. Gerald Campbell has stayed right there. He's 27th. Dylan Thomas also came down. He's 28th. Those guys have not climbed through the field, so I wonder if they didn't take tires and Scott did. Maybe a strategy play of some sort to try to have a little extra fuel and go a little bit longer on the run. Not sure.
We
have finally singled out.
When David brought Tate up here, he said it's going to be a quick race. Not many laps in here tonight already. 25 laps down of 140, so already a significant portion of laps in the books, and we continue to work towards that midway point of 70 laps.
And look at Seth Rawls here in 10th. He's just in front of Wesley Crump in 11th, which I believe this is Wesley's first race with us here at ERSCA. And Andy Trupiano right behind in 12th, Wyatt Nadel in 13th. They kind of kicked off that first wreck. And they are kind of spearheading this second pack of cars, which includes Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell, Kwame Scott, among others. Jared Rexing's back there as well. And all these guys kind of playing follow the leader right now behind Wesley Crump. And there's a pretty sizable gap, over a second, between Rawls and Crump there for back in the field. Here's a side-by-side battle on track as Campbell drives around Goodman. Wesley Crump's running the top up here, and I just think you can't run the top this early in the run. You have to save your tire as much as you can because you're going to start having to run that middle and top groove naturally because the car's going to want to slide up there anyway. Once you do run the top, you can absolutely drive up to the top of the racetrack and wrap it down to the bottom off the corner and pick up time on that long run on those old tires there. Here comes Cooper Johnson on Mark Whitley. Whitley goes high, tries to pinch Johnson off the corner. All this in front of Bayuk. And they bump, and there goes Whitley. And he spins and saves it, and everything seems to be all right. Looks like Whitley just got a little bit of rear damage on the 77, and I don't think Cooper Johnson did anything wrong there.
No, it looked exactly like what we just saw in the opening few laps where Weeks got sent into the outside wall.
Right,
Just
and,
two
he
two
just
cars
didn't
got
hit it as
close
hard.
together. Yeah, cars got close together, and net code happened, and he got sent around into the outside wall.
Put up a little bit there. We'd have to go at that one a little bit slower and try to piece together what was going on. But I think Whitley definitely could have given him a little bit more room while running that top groove. He didn't necessarily need to, force the issue pinching down. It's early in the race. He's got a groove or two up, but he does give Cooper room. Looks like Cooper hit the apron right there and drives it up the track. And then I don't think they were ever very close. And then, then there goes the left rear axle of Mark Whitley shooting up into the air. That's a clear indicator of netcode.
Most everybody, well, I guess I should say half the group coming down pit road.
Todd Crump, the pole sitter, has stayed out. So has True Piano and Kwame Scott. Certainly an interesting call to stay out here. I think that might be the wrong call because it feel like we were going to go green there for a little bit. I can't help but feel like that's certainly going to happen at some point, and why not right now? Hey, Lytle looks like he picked up a spot on pit road, got around James Cedar. We need another caution interview. Let's see if we can bring somebody in. All right. Why don't you bring you guys Scott up here and ask him why he stayed out, Dom?
All right, I can do that. Scott, Dom up here in the booth. We were just kind of questioning there. What was the decision to stay out here?
There's been a lot of wrecks going on, so I figured if I'm out front, can't get caught up in the middle of the field wreck.
All right, well.
It might come back to bite me here because we get a green flag run. It's not going to look good for me.
Well, we were just kind of wondering what you were thinking there. I guess you answered our question. We'll let you get focused here on this restart and have a good rest of your race.
All right, thank you.
All right, so I guess there's our answer there. And I don't think that's a horrible decision, but it may eventually hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, I think it's a good call if we get that quick caution where he can come down pit road, but he's going to lose a lot of track position unless there's a number of cautions all in a row here coming up. I think that's what's going to take to make this strategy work out. I certainly think this is not the time for gambling. You can definitely gamble later on in the race, but right now seems like it's a bit too risky to lose all that track position. Because if he comes in 10 laps when there's a caution, either he'll have lost 10 positions or he'll lose the lead and have to go all the way to the back of the lead lap for just a 7-lap bonus on the tires. And I don't think he'll be able to pass his way through that 7 laps. He'll run the good off the tires long before he gets back up to the lead, or where he would have been right now, which is about 6th or 7th place. This one could be wild, though. There's definitely guys up here with old tires like Josh Robin, Gerald Campbell, who we haven't seen it all day. Jared Rexing, they've been back in the field, and we'll see if the track position helps or if Ryan Lutz just goes soaring past all of them and into the lead.
Coming to lap 35 here when we go green this time by.
Bit of a blink for Crump there. We know he's had computer issues in the past. And there's another one. 51 car definitely is experiencing some of that issue, but pace car is off. He goes early and tries to get out ahead of everyone, even though they can't really see him.
And it is getting really bad here for Scott.
You'll notice that tire advantage in the corners for these guys. The straightaway, not so much, but I think Ryan Lutz is going to start shooting by guys here. There he goes around Gerald Campbell. And around Josh Robin. Ryan Lutz picking him off early. 36 cars able to carry just so much speed into the corners. But you see how Indelicato's able to drive it through a little bit better in the center. And they're both mired in traffic right now, so this is a good time to take a look and see which cars are better in traffic and in that what could be lap traffic later in the race.
Trupiano's stuck on the high side. He just lost 2 spots. Jared Rexing into second, and Kwame Scott into third. Into fourth goes Ryan Lutz, as Trupiano continues to be stuck up on the high side and can't get down.
Here comes Rexing for the lead, trying to go after Scott Crump. Crump probably trying to play it safe on the older tires, and Ryan Lutz is here racing for the lead already. It's only been 3 or 4 laps since the restart. Rexing to the lead, and Ryan Lutz is about to take it from him.
Delicato underneath now. Here comes Steinmiller. Scott lost a position, and Crump is already fading quickly through the field. He's already lost 4 or 5, maybe even 6 spots here by the time we get out of this corner.
Rexing trying to hold off Ryan Lutz is not going to matter. The tire is just too good for the new, the race leader of Ryan Lutz, the defending champion. And Ryan Lutz back to the lead where he likes to be.
Forget 6, 7 spots. Scott Crump just fell out of the top 10 within a lap or so.
Well, I said earlier, the early part of the race isn't the time to gamble. I think I want to go back on that. The early part of the race is maybe the best time to gamble, because now you know it's not going to work, but you do know that you could hold the lead for a lap and a half to 2 laps. And if it comes to a green-white checkered, well, that's all you need it for. So I think staying out becomes a viable strategy late in this race, but right now Scott Crump is praying for a caution.
Steinmiller to the inside of Rexing here. This is a battle for the 3rd position. It looks like he'll get by Rexing, and here comes Bayuk as well.
As well as another car. Crump is really struggling there. He just lost 4 or 5 more spots. Tate Lido went around, Martinez went around, Burrell went around. Scott Crump falling like a rock through the field right now on those old tires. Just absolutely no grip right now, and very tough to be that guy who made the call and came in the booth and said it might bite him in the butt. Well, it seems like it has.
Meanwhile, Ryan Lutz has put 0.6 of a second up on Nick Indelicato as your race leader. Indelicato and Steinmiller have broken away from the rest of the pack that's led by Bayuk.
Looking in this little pack of cars as everybody tries to kind of file around some of these guys. Vincent Isabella is up to 15th. And he started 38th on the grid. No one's been able to pass as many cars as him so far, though Martinez there in the 9 car, he is up from 31st to 13th. So a couple of guys shooting through the field right now very quickly.
Another car that's going to start sinking like a rock is Jared Rexing. He just got passed by Seth Rawls for the 8th position. He's got a little bit of breathing room before Jared Rexing and Tate Lytle are going to catch him, but he is falling fast back to that 3rd pack.
Yep.
That's coming on quickly.
Kwame Scott's there as well. He's also one of the cars that stayed out. He's got a little bit fresher tires than Crump does, and Scott Crump is back to 22nd right now. Just not the strategy, I don't think, there to save tire, but you see Rexing does have a little bit more freshness in those tires than his staying out counterpart there of the pole sitter Scott Crump.
Got a battle here for the 6th position. The 2020 champion coming to the inside. Nick Massey making the pass on Matthew Bayuk. He'll get around him.
A huge snarling pack of cars. Yeah, Carlos pulled it up there. Huge pack of cars on the bottom of your screen. They're sideways. Kwame Scott just about wrecked it. He saves it. They'll lose. He and Wesley Crump will lose a bunch of spots. Oh, and Wesley Crump just threw a pretty huge, maybe unintentional block on Johnny Thomas there.
Well, David looks at that. The front of the field starting to get pretty spread out now as they're starting to gap each other here through the top 6 or 7 positions.
Yeah, it's starting to look more like a Dover race, which I expect to go green. This is a track that kind of lends itself to those more green flag runs, which, you know, that's what makes that call by Scott Crump a little puzzling. He definitely is a top 5 speed car, but just not sure about, you know, knowing that Dover tends to go green for a long time. If he gets the caution now, he'll be okay, right? He's 25th or so. He'll be okay. But if he goes a lap down, that's really going to start to cause some problems for our pole sitter. And even these guys, Jared Rex and Kwame Scott, they are really falling back now. So staying out, not the strategy if this race goes green. And now that it does have a green look, we can kind of get an idea of who's going to be competitive. And, well, we're seeing some of these guys rise through the field, like Nick Massey, like Hank Steinmiller, like Tate Lytle, who are just continuously driving up.
Coming to complete lap 50 here this time by.
Starting lap 50, lap 70 will be the halfway stage and bonus points. And that's the one you want to grab, I think. That'll be really helpful for the championship chase. We are keeping the same points, even though we're changing cars. If you're in a hole based on the COT, you're just going to have to dig yourself out of it. And if you have a cushion, well, you better maintain it. Bayuk and Rawls, similarly colored Mohawk Foundation cars, battling for 7th. Teammates for Shift Esports.
Speaking of that, your points leader having a pretty good run right now. He's sitting in 2nd position after picking up the win last week, having a good start here to the Plan B or the Plan B car here for Xfinity. Nick and Delicato running right behind
the Plan B car. I think it's just the B class car. But Delicato is starting to reel Ryan Lutz in. He likes to save his tires, and Delicato does, and you know, especially in this B car. It's a B class car, Dom, not a Plan B car. That's a different thing entirely.
It's the second plan, so I mean,
you're right. It is a Plan B. It is. Plan A was the COT car. So either way, Delicato kind of starting to reel in Lutz, though. I said that, and I think Delicato lost a couple of tenths, but either way, that gap's starting to close. I think the tires may be just a little bit better for Nick and Delicato right now. Yep, gap's starting to close down, and I think Delicato is probably planning on trying to win this halfway stage, gather those points, try to pad that points lead. Back in the field, battle for 8th. Tate Lytle going after Seth Rawls. Up here, it's only 0.3 of a second from Lutz to Delicato, and Lytle does get Rawls. So the 56 on a mission after we talked to him in pre-race. He's looking to keep marching through the field.
Could have a battle here for 4th in just a second as well. Cooper Johnson and Nick Massey have caught the 4th place car and starting to march their way up through the pack. Let's see if they make a move here in the closing few laps.
I like that. That was good. Yeah, I have the story. I ran a race with the 4th place car earlier this season. He ran pretty good in that race, and I think had some issues happen. So we'll see if Cooper's been saving tire behind him. I know Nick Massey has been, and that's what Massey does. That's like a trademark card. We just lost Dylan Thomas to connection packet loss, and under green, we can't probably really give those laps back that Dylan Thomas is going to lose. So that's a pretty hefty issue there, as I think Thomas was pretty high in the points. There's Tate Lytle going around the other Shift Esports car of Bayuk. Lytle into 7th. Now things are really spread out. This is looking more like a Dover race, a classic Dover race, as it were. Everybody's got to race the racetrack and really keep their tires under them. Johnny Thomas here with Wesley Crump and James Heater. Oh, Dom, I was kind of expecting more from James Heater during the preseason show. Johnny Thomas said that Heater was really going to be competitive, and Heater has a very high I rating, so I just kind of assumed Heater would be one of those guys fighting for the COT wins, but I think he was more impressive last year in the B car. He might be one of those guys that really gains from this switch over.
Yeah, he had a really strong run to open up the season. I think he was even close to the top 5 in points, or might have been in the top 5 in points, and then things kind of just went south for him the second half of the season. But David, we got a battle here brewing for the race lead. Indelicato has caught Ryan Lutz.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting here because there's about 10 laps to go till the stage. Can Lutz hold off Indelicato? It's clear Indelicato's been saving the tire on that 0-1 Ford. Will he be able to close this gap up and make this pass? And will them racing side by side, if they do, bring Hank Steinmiller back into this race?
The other question is, I don't know if they're going to be able to reach it in time before the stage comes, but eventually here in the next few laps, they will hit lap traffic as well. They're starting to run up on Joe Francis, I believe. That would be the first car that they encounter.
I think a damaged car like Francis may get out of their way. Francis is already 18 laps down. They'll see, you can see him up ahead. There's definitely going to be some traffic, and that will affect the battle for the lead here.
Yeah, I don't think Francis is going to be an issue, but they're battling for position up ahead of Francis, and that might be where things start to get a little tricky.
Absolutely. And when you get side by side here at Dover, there's just nowhere else to go. This is not a track you can really, get 3 wide. You have to make your moves, especially as the race leader, and you have to, make them aggressively around these lapped cars and try to get them out of their rhythm and up out of the way. Especially with the, the skills of these guys back here is pretty strong. So I expect, Ryan Lutz and Nick Indelicato to encounter some major issues here with the lap traffic. Not because these guys are being hazards or anything, but because they're trying to stay in the lead lap, and it's really notoriously hard to pass here at Dover.
We're seeing that right now. Indelicato has ran about the last 5 laps right behind Lutz, but has not been able to get around him.
That's one thing that Ryan Lutz is just so good at, is when someone gets on his bumper, it's almost like he gets faster, right? Not even that he's overdriving the car, because normally when you get up behind somebody in this series and on this, game, you want to close to that bumper and force them to make a mistake. That's how it is in real racing too, right? You put pressure on them, you start working on the position, trying to, find a way to get around them and make a pass. As Lutz does encounter the lap traffic of Josh Robin in the 8 car. That is a car that did not pit last time out, so Robin going a lap down to the leaders. And we'll watch Indelicato struggle off the corner here because he encountered Robin in the middle of the corner. He did not get all the way to the wall, and Ryan Lutz got about 1/10.5 back. But Lutz just loves when cars get behind him, and nobody else seems to like that. It's almost like Lutz has a, I want to beat you, and I want you to be as close as you can to see me beat you mentality.
And it's almost like a complete replay of what we saw last year. This happened many times last year. And Indelicato, though, I think is starting to use up his tires because he's starting to get pretty loose coming out of the corners.
Well, this is it. This is go time on this first run. There's, 2 laps coming to, maybe 3 laps coming to the stage. The big point, the chase point there is on the line for the guys who are out front here. So Lutz and Indelicato definitely view themselves as championship contenders. Lutz being the incumbent champion and Indelicato being the points leader. So, this is where if Indelicato is wanting to take this championship away, he needs to find a way to get around this 36 car and hold him back from getting that championship run as he dives to the inside, but Lutz goes deep into the corner and holds him back. Cooper Johnson has jumped into 4th place now. Just a quick update, that 14 car showing some real strength today. And this is it, final lap. does Nick and Delicato bury it in there and use the bumper? I don't know that I would on Ryan Lutz. That seems like a guy who would come back at you a little bit harder, but it's like Delicato maybe just didn't quite gauge how much he needed in order to get around Lutz before this stage break. Or Lutz is toying with him, because that's definitely something that's happened before. There's no break, sorry. The stage win for Ryan Lutz is right there. But we keep going, because that's how it should be.
Halfway
race.
points assessed there to the top 10.
Yep. So Tate Lytle 7th, Daniel Martinez 9th, Ethan Burrell held just out of the stage points. And there's Tate Lytle sneaking up on Nick Massey right behind the 5th place car.
All right,
back
so
to Rawls in 10th.
Carlos brought up a good idea. Let's take a little quick run through the top 10, or through at least a significant portion of the field. So we've seen our front two of Nick Massey of Ryan Lutz and Nick and Delicato. Hank Steinmiller quietly running a ways back here, about almost 2 seconds behind in third. Dave mentioned
Cooper Johnson 4th. And here's the battle for 5th. It's starting to rage. Tate Lytle just went around Nick Massey.
Yeah, and there's another car in there as well. That's the 5th place car, so it's 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Right. And then you've got Matthew Bayuk kind of on an island back there in 8th. Actually, he might be under fire from Martinez right now. Yep, Martinez right on his bumper.
Rounding out the top 10.
Bayuk sideways off the corner. I think the 9 car is going to take this spot entering turn 1.
Rounding out the top 10 is Bayuk's teammate Seth Rawls in the 0-2, just behind this battle.
Yep, and you can see Ethan Burrell lurking back there as well in the red and black car. So he's up to 11th and definitely gaining. That car has been moving steadily forward all day long.
A little bit of a gap back to the 12th place car, Wesley Crump in the 16 machine.
And then there's Vincent Isabella kind of riding a half second behind Crump. And that car has come from 38th to 13th. So a really good run for Vincent Isabella.
And
start this race.
Just a little bit further back is the guy David mentioned earlier that we kind of had high preseason hopes for. It's the 18 of James Heater running here in the 12th position.
There's about to be a battle for the lead, guys. Yeah, Carlos pulled it up. We saw it at the same time. And Delicato got all the way to Lutz's rear bumper, and he's only showing a 10th behind right now. Mark Whitley's been around and backwards in this race, and he rounds out our top 15. Back to the race lead, and Delicato still putting that pressure on Ryan Lutz.
All right, David, we've gone probably close to 40 laps now, green, since that last caution. When does the time come to come get tires now, especially since we've hit the halfway point?
Man, that's tough, because what's going to happen is, you're going to want to divide this segment up into kind of 2 even groups. I don't think I would want to come too early, because you could get trapped out with the caution. But I would also not want to wait too long, because that undercut could be very strong and very difficult to pull back. Dover does have a bit of a plateau with the tire wear. So eventually your car stops being it stops falling off on time as you go through the run. And eventually every car hits that plateau and runs a little bit slower, but they don't really you don't keep dropping from a 23-second lap to a 28-second lap to a 29-second lap. You stay around 25 or 26 seconds. So you don't want to get undercut too bad, because then you can't come back, because the tires burn off. So, it's a difficult strategy here. I think I'd probably come in around lap 90, maybe 85.
All right,
It really depends on where you are on track.
I was just gonna suggest between 90 and 100 was gonna be my suggestion, but there you go. David said maybe as soon as 5 laps from now, maybe 10, somewhere around there if he was racing out there. But we'll see what our leaders decide to do. And Delicato takes the peak there, couldn't quite make it work.
Lutz loves to be in the lead, because he knows he can block off those moves, chop it off, and force you to make those mistakes overdriving your car behind him. I will tell you, one of the most impressive things I've seen so far today as he pits it from in front of the leaders, Scott Crump stayed on the lead lap on those older tires. He was able to maintain enough to stay in the lead lap. If he gets a caution, he'll be back in the race, but he's going to go 2 laps down here. It's going to be annoying for him for sure, definitely frustrating because he got the green flag run when he didn't pit, but a really impressive run by Scott Crump to get to lap 80 where it's not infeasible to make it to the end here without losing too much on your tires. I think we'll definitely start to see guys come down pit road here though within the next 10 laps or so, because you will need to pit one more time.
And it may be looking farther back in the field. Maybe Cooper Johnson or Tate Lytle, who have both now got by Hank Steinmiller and start to march their way through the field. Look for maybe someone like Steinmiller, who's now losing spots on the track, to come down and get tires before anyone else.
Hank usually saves his stuff a little better than this. I'm a little bit surprised he's starting to fall back. Nick Massey's about to go around him for the 5th spot. And Tate Lytle is up into 4th, and that is bad news for the rest of the field. If Tate can get a caution or maybe undercut the leaders, he's going to be a real force here going down to the end. Cooper Johnson just in front of Lytle. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, all right here under a blanket, about 3 seconds behind Ryan Lutzen and Delicato, who are still nose to tail on the back straightaway.
By the way, I mentioned it in the open. We've had 7 races, 7 winners. Right now, our 2 out front would be contenders to be our first repeat winners on the season. So Cooper Johnson would be the first car that has not won yet this year that would be in contention for a win. Tate Lytle in that same boat.
Wyatt Nadel just went down pit road. A number of guys have kind of tried to jump the gun and go down early. And we'll see what kind of extra speed those cars have with the fresh tires. I'm trying to look back through the running order to catch people going in. Trey Holmes is coming in. He's in the back of the field.
I think Ethan Burrell might be in as well.
Here comes Indelicato, and Ryan Lutz cuts across his nose again. I wonder if Indelicato at some point will maybe send it in a little deeper and see if he just incidentally bounces off of that 36 car because he's using that wide arc into the corner. Mark Whitley on pit road. So is Seth Rawls, I believe that is.
This battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th has heated up because they got stuck in lap traffic. It got interesting there for a minute.
Yep, Robert Hill Jr. caught up on the outside. Tate Lytle just let Josh Robin go. Robin's on fresh tires. Burrell coming off pit road. He has fresh tires now, and he's the first one of the top 11 or so to go in. But now we're starting to see more guys hit pit road that are up there in that top group.
It seems like we talk about it every time we get into these green flag stretches, but this is where a caution can develop. Guys trying to get on pit road, coming off, lap traffic, trying to weave in and out through here. So this could prompt a caution with fresher tires trying to get around some of these guys that are battling for position on older tires.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, and that's why a lot of these guys are trying to stay out as long as possible, avoid that potential pitfall of going several laps down to the leaders, because it takes 2 laps for you to, pit at Dover under green, even with these older tires. Massey and Steinmiller both went around Cooper Johnson. Cooper seems to be fading a little bit. He had been up in 3rd. Now it's fallen all the way back to 6th.
Yeah, Tate's taken over that 3rd position, and he's pulled away from Massey and Steinmiller. Maybe, we're going to car spun.
Indelicato's in the barrels. The points leader has binned it. Oh, and Trupiano bounces off of him coming to pit road. Nick Indelicato wipes out into the barrels. The caution does not come out, and Trupiano gets into Indelicato coming to pit road too. My goodness. Indelicato's day just went from great to awful. As Ryan Lutz and Indelicato pit. Indelicato must have missed pit road.
Tate Lytle's coming down as well.
Yep, Tate comes down. I think Nick Massey's going to stay out. Hank Steinmiller stayed out. Those guys trying to run long. And Massey and Steinmiller are side by side for the lead right now. That may have just handed Ryan Lutz this race on a platter.
I don't know.
Lutz is off pit road.
You're already counting out your buddy there, Tate Lytle.
Well, he has that advantage of having pitted. But let's take a look at this pit entrance. Lutz was sideways in front. He might have gotten some contact from Indelicato, and Indelicato tried to get slowed. Lutz made it. Indelicato did not. I wonder if Lutz is going to get a speeding penalty, though. Lytle's coming off pit road right now. Lutz is on the front straightaway. That'll be the race for the lead. And Lutz goes by Lytle right there. So that was the race for the lead. And man, now Ryan Lutz is going to really have no apparent challengers at his level right now. Steinmiller on pit road. Kyle Hanshaw heads down pit road. Matthew Bayuk is on pit road. Crazy mid-race development here as the second place in the stage and the points leader has hit the pit barrels, not bringing out a caution. I think he did contact our race leader, Ryan Lutz, and there's the caution right there. Oh, and it's another spinner going down pit road. Looked like one of the Shift Esports cars, but I couldn't tell which one it was. Might have been the 01 car again, honestly. Nope, he's okay, I think. It was Indelicato again. Yep, it was Indelicato, though it wasn't because he was trying to go down pit road. So Indelicato has spun twice in a span of 5 laps. And also a car that was sliding up the track that maybe should have backed out a little more there. But regardless, there's only 6 cars in the lead lap right now. Nick Massey played this strategy perfectly. And the caution is going to allow for a bunch of guys to get a wave around, but Nick Massey, Jared Rexing, Vincent Isabella, Dallas Myhand, Matthew Weeks, and Kwame Scott are going to be the lead lap cars pitting here, and they'll be the top 6 when we go back green, and they'll have the track position. So Ryan Lutz will be on older tires, and he'll be coming from 7th or 8th. My goodness, what a string of events as Nick Indelicato encounters 2 separate incidents that wildly changed the complexion of this race.
Yeah, you got to feel like he's one of them that can definitely pose a threat now to Ryan Lutz. He's going to have good track position, fresh tires. He's been fast. He was coming through the field there for a little bit, and with 40 to go, definitely going to be good to the end of the race here.
I think any one of these 6 guys can pose a threat to Ryan Lutz right here. If this race goes green the rest of the way, which no guarantees it will, mind you, these guys have the track position and the tires to make this happen. Massey, Rexing, Isabella. Mogard is the lucky dog. Weeks Myhand. Weeks has damage. What a fortunate break for Vincent Isabella. He had not run particularly well in the COT car. But we know Vincent's a good driver in this Xfinity car. He was a chase driver in the 2020 season that Nick Massey won. Kwame Scott's also going to be up here as well with Massey. But I think it might be Massey, Rexing, and Vincent Isabella, the top 3. And those would be clean cars that can really take advantage of this and try to, get a lot of track position and pull away from these guys. They desperately want it to go green so that Ryan Lutz can't get tires and get on their same strategy. Oh, man. And by the way, all of this, Hank Steinmiller ends up 1 lap down now because he pitted so late. He went 2 laps down and was unable to pass back by the leader.
So there's 2 of your top 5 cars right there having issues that took them out of the race, basically.
Absolutely surreal. That green flag pit stops changed the race complexion that much. It really looked good to go. And Nick Indelicato misses pit road, then gets spun. He is 2 laps down with a severely damaged number 01 car, and the points lead looking very fragile. I don't know if Carlos has the points lead graphic. I think you do. There it is. Nope, that's the wrong one. You could tune in on Thursdays for that one. There's the points lead graphic. Cameron Rich has also encountered problems today. Oh boy. Tate Lytle, Ethan Burrell, they are up here. But Nick Massey, P7, that's the one I think that's going to be standing to make the most ground out of all this.
Kwame Scott's not in a bad spot, sitting in 6th right now either. So
Right, yeah, but he is a little bit further back, so I wonder if he'll end up falling into the clutches. But yeah, he can definitely gain a good amount, which I think would put him in the points lead, honestly. It'd probably be him and Massey. This is a pretty close points battle.
one big note we need to mention right now before we go green. Look at who's sitting in 4th place right now.
Matthew Weeks,
After
who
that,
who's crashed in that first portion of the race, just took it easy through that long green flag run, stayed out as long as he possibly could, hoping something like this would happen, I'm sure. And Weeks is going to need, some luck. Really, he's going to need that car to be faster than those cars on older tires behind him. And he needs these lapped cars between this front group of 6 and Ryan Lutz to hold him up drastically going through. Here we go. Massey gets off to a great start, Rexing, and then Isabella. Weeks settles in 4th, Scott 5th, Myhan 6th.
we'll see how well they can try to pull away maybe a little bit here from guys behind them.
Got into 4th around Weeks.
My hand having some serious connection issues up here.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why the 26 car was running poorly earlier in the race. Kwame Scott is all over the back bumper of Vincent Isabella in the 15 car. I think Kwame's going to get a run on him down the back straightaway here. Oh, he's just all over the back bumper of the 15, and he got loose there in the middle of the corner. Kwame Scott bullies the 15 of Isabella out of the way. He'll go to 3rd, Isabella to 4th, with Matthew Weeks now alongside. Yeah, Weeks is without a hood on my screen, and it's still pretty fast in that 11 car. He must have gotten all that damage fixed over the number of cautions. Isabella will have to let him go by. Hank Steinmiller trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way, or win that race for that lucky dog, should a caution come out.
Ryan Lutz already up to 6th.
Yep, he's making the most headway of anybody with these older, fresh tires. Daniel Martinez is 7th, Burrell 8th, Lytle 9th. And those guys are mired more in traffic than Lutz is. Lutz is all the way to the back bumper of Bayuk, who is just a few cars behind Vincent Isabella here. Rexing not really able to keep up with Nick Massey. Massey's kind of stepping away from the field a little bit. Kwame Scott trying to run him down. Kwame's definitely using as much stuff as he's got in that 99 car to get up there towards the race lead.
The biggest thing here for your race leader, Nick Massey, is to try to put as much ground in between him and Ryan Lutz right now as Lutz tries to battle through the traffic to get towards the front. See how much of a time gap he can put between him and Lutz. That might end up being the factor in the end.
Yeah, Lutz is picking off about a car every 2 or 3 laps, and I just don't think that's going to be enough. He's got 5.5 seconds to get up to Nick Massey right now. That is a lot of ground, a lot of racetrack to make up without a caution. Ryan Lutz is desperately wanting a caution. Tate Lytle has gone by Ethan Burrell. That is for 8th. Kwame Scott is into 2nd around Rexing. Battle for 10th. Cooper Johnson looking on. And Whitley falls to 11th.
Scott trying to make the most of this run here on this break he got. Coming up in the 2nd, going to try to track down Nick Massey here for the race lead.
Yeah, that 99 car is looking pretty racy here. I'm a little bit surprised, but also, he's definitely driving harder right now. That Nick Massey is very controlled, just in the race lead, trying to ensure his good finish. As Jared Mogard was slow on the apron, I wonder if that 0-0 is blown a motor, but That'll take him off the lead lap and out of 15th place. Daytona winner has some issues here. Yep, Mogard blew up. Back to the race lead. Kwame Scott is eating up Nick Massey right now.
Yeah, he's definitely closing in, but I think, David, you nailed it. Massey's saving his tires for the end of this thing to make sure if anybody's going to come get him, he saves as much as he can.
This is also a pair of teammates. They both run for Rubbins Racing Motorsports. And those are teammates with Josh Adams. And they're definitely pleased to be running 1-2, but I think Massey might even let his teammate go by, knowing that he can go get him back later on. Though he might just play the Ryan Lutz strategy: hold him back, run exactly as fast as you need to, and then stay out in front as long as you can.
Inside 30 laps to go now here in this one.
These battles right here, where that caution's going to come from, I think, if one does happen to fall, this whole group back here is dicing very, very aggressively. As we look back, Weeks has about a second lead over Isabella, who has about 2.5 to back to Ryan Lutz. Lutz
Yeah.
has 1.6 to Tate Lytle.
Yeah, he's got Nick and Delicato in between him and Isabella right now. Lutz not really making a significant amount of progress, and each lap that goes by, I think, just takes Lutz out of this one more and more.
Yep. And Lutz also is running into a problem with that he's losing time to Nick Massey up front. As Indelicato chops the nose of Lutz off, and Indelicato is a bit of a confrontational racer. So, yeah, I don't think he's real happy with Ryan Lutz, but the thing is that Indelicato should have been less aggressive coming to pit road. I mean, that's the bottom line here. Ryan Lutz over aggressively entered pit road, and here he is banging
moved him.
banging the 0-1 out of the way. And I mean that's warranted for me, man. And Delicato was driving him hard while being 2 laps down.
No,
after making his own mistake.
Yeah, David, I think you're right. I understand the frustration from Indelicato, but at some point you can race him rough. But if you're not in a place to compete for anything here, you need to one lap maybe, but then let him go. Prove your point, but then let him go. And it didn't seem like Indelicato was going to let him go. He was going to try to race him as hard as he could for as long as he could.
Like, I understand being mad at guys who wreck you and whatnot. Nick Indelicato did not get wrecked by Ryan Lutz there. Bottom line. Absolutely not. Ryan Lutz entered pit road way too aggressively. He made a mistake by that aggressive move, and Nick Indelicato just made a bigger mistake and pounded into the barrels. That's not Ryan Lutz's fault. At no point is that Ryan Lutz's fault. What's Ryan Lutz supposed to do? Go timid on it and like control Z and Delicato out of the barrels? Like, I don't. Lutz can't do anything about that. So let's move back to the live race. And Kwame Scott's run into a bit of a brick wall in his attempt to catch Nick Massey. He's stuck about 6/10 behind and just can't get any closer. Cooper Johnson's up to 9th. Burrell is slid to 11th. And I'm thinking back to that lap 2 wreck. Ethan Burrell got damage. I wonder if that's slowing down that 37 car a little bit and kind of forcing him into battling with Mark Whitley and Wyatt Nadel here, because Ethan Burrell is usually a lot quicker and a lot more pacey.
Matthew Weeks just got moved up the racetrack.
The Shift Esports cars seem to be rather unhappy that they're a lap down. I'm not entirely sure what that was all about. Weeks is a lead lap car, and although he's missing a hood, he has still had good pace. Not the best of looks from the Shift Esports group. Ryan Lutz is 2 seconds back of Weeks now for that 5th position. But this is all going on way behind Massey and Scott. They're only now 3/10 back, so it looks like Scott's found a second wind. Watch out, Tate. There's a a lapped Shift Esports car behind you. Here's Kwame Scott trying to get up to the back bumper of Nick Massey.
Now, I know everybody wants to win here, but with Nick Massey being his teammate out front, do you think Kwame might be just a little bit content running in second for the time being, knowing that he's probably going to jump up here in the points pretty well, with Rich having a bad day and Delicado having a bad day, and let his team help his teammate out here and give him a little bit of a break?
And Bayuk's going to get himself dumped. I tell you what, it depends on the relationship with your teammate, man. I have some teammates who I have a really good relationship with, and those are the guys that I would absolutely race for it clean. We would battle it side by side. I would give it everything I had without wrecking them. And there's some teammates where I'm like, man, you win too much. Get out of my way. I have no idea what Kwame Scott and Nick Massey's relationship is, but Kwame did not win last year. Nick Massey is a former champion of this series who's won a bunch of races. So, Massey might be hungry. Kwame might be hungrier, and he might know that this is an opportunity to get maximum points and take advantage of a lot of his, closest rivals' mistakes. Long way to go, though. I mean, if Kwame's just faster, Kwame's faster, and he runs around him. I mean, that's part of it too. There's a lot of racing left, and Massey's certainly going to defend the lead as is his right as the leader.
I think this is the battle for the win, though. I don't think anybody else is, unless caution comes out, I don't think anybody's catching these two at this moment.
That is the third Shift Esports lapped car that has bounced off of somebody going around them in the last 20 laps, man. That is wild. Rawls just pounded off of the door of Josh Clark. And that was for position at least, but my goodness, what's going on over there?
Closing in on 15 to go here, and Scott has closed in for the race lead. He is on the back bumper of Nick Massey here.
For fourth is heating up. Ryan Lutz is in the shot here, right behind and hunting Vincent Isabella. Gonna have to watch out for that shift car, though, I'll tell you what. And Rawls did just drop it right in front of Ryan Lutz. I don't even know, man. Rawls is running, he's blocking him down to the apron.
Here comes Scott to the inside of Nick Massey. Battle for the race lead. He's at least going to take a look this time. He's to the corner panel this time, out of the corner.
Yep. Massey and Scott and Scott going for the lead. They're still side by side.
Scott got a good run through the corner that time. I don't know if he's going to be able to, at least pull up side by side at the line that time. Massey has it by a nose.
Scott's gonna, we hit the apron. Scott hit the apron. Massey might have the run exiting. Kwame Scott, power move. He's gonna have the advantage entering turn 3 next time. Carlos, where you at, man? All right, well, we'll radio call it. Kwame Scott's got a nose ahead of Nick Massey. He's gonna take the lead off of 4. Kwame Scott's the lead.
Move.
Massey's gonna try to cross over back to the inside. 12 laps of racing to go. Massey and Scott still side by side. This is going to bring Jared Rexing back to this battle. If you're these two, you don't want to lose to Rexing. One of you's got to win. But they are racing clean, which kind of answers your question earlier. Massey will cede the lead to Scott here on the front straightaway. And Kwame Scott is driven up from 6th on the restart to take the lead from Nick Massey. So does Massey have anything for him?
This would go back to that point. Kwame Scott is a race winner already this season, so he's looking to be the first repeat winner. Nick Massey has not won yet here in 2022, so he's looking for his first race win with 10 to go.
Kwame just bounced it off the fence there entering the corner, and Massey's going to get a run underneath.
Don't look now,
Kwame's
though.
just really strong off these corners. I don't know what he's doing differently than Nick Massey, but Kwame Scott's exiting the corner just at a different clip right now than Massey is.
Every time we come out of the corner, just peeking out of that corner, Rexing is closing in. Don't know unless they get side by side again if he's going to be able to actually get there, but he is closing that gap from 3rd.
Dropped their lead in half with that stint of 2 or 3 side by side laps as they come up on the lapped car of Robert Hill. And Kwame bounced it off the wall again. I'm wondering if that's going to affect that 99 car at all. Massey still just right on the back bumper of Kwame Scott.
Wonder if Nick's just waiting it out here for a couple laps to plan his attack. Maybe he's looking to see where Kwame's making up his time, searching a little bit, seeing if he can find a line or trying to pick out just a little bit of information to make the move for the race win.
Too long. Jared Rexing has closed that down to about 0.6 of a second behind Kwame Scott. And he's almost there. These guys have either got to pick it up or they're going to get caught and passed by this 07 car. 7 to go.
Rexing using all he's got right now to try to close up this gap. Wonder if he's using up too much, though. We've seen it all day long. It's been one thing to catch him, but to pass him's another thing. But he has definitely put himself in the mix for a race win here as he's closed in now within a couple car lengths.
Massey might have just worn his stuff out a little too much now. He lost a full 1/10.5 that time through. Unless Nick Massey has another gear or something, he's going to fall into the clutches of Rexing before this one's over.
5.5 laps left to go as we go into turn 3 once again. Rexing is definitely continuing to close.
Ryan Lutz absolutely burned up his tires back there, and I think maybe some of that contact with some of those lapped cars is also hurting him. Vincent Isabella is kind of solidly in 4th now by 1.5 seconds. So looks like it's just down to this group right here, and Kwame Scott is pulling away.
Well, in about another lap or so, Rexing is going to be on the back bumper of Nick Massey, if not sooner. He has closed that gap quickly. Question is just how fast can he get by Nick Massey to have any shot at Kwame Scott?
And in these final 4 laps, does Kwame Scott run into this lap traffic? He's got Gerald Campbell up here. He's got Andy Trupiano up here. Are those guys going to pose a problem for Kwame Scott going by, or does he even catch him?
Now the big question is, we talked about it, they raced clean, but how big of a teammate is Nick Massey going to be? Is he going to play a blocker here on Jared Rexing in these final 3 laps?
I think absolutely. I mean, at this point, with just 3 to go, you just want your team to come home with a victory. If you're Nick Massey, you got caught by your teammate. He had a better long run pace than you. Just make sure your team brings it home here. Scott goes underneath Campbell. That doesn't seem to be a problem. They do eat him up a little bit. Lap traffic just is such a big effect on these cars, but I think it was only about 1/10 of a second. Yep, only 3/10. So the battle's going to be for second between Rexing and Massey.
2 to go, and Rexing has caught Massey, but we'll see if he can make the pass. Massey blinked off the screen for just a second there, but comes back.
White flag is out. Final lap at Dover. Kwame Scott looking to become the first 2-time winner of the season and the first to win in both cars.
Rexing to the inside of Massey here for second. He might get the second spot, but not going to take the win here in this one. Kwame Scott down the backstretch. Last week we made ERSCA history with 7 winners in 7 weeks. This week we're going to have a repeat winner here at the SR Designs 140 in Dover. Kwame Scott's the first one to repeat here in 2022.
Jared Rexing is, I believe, going to get second over Massey. He does. Vincent Isabella comes home in 4th. Ryan Lutz comes home 5th. He just held off Tate Lytle, who comes home 6th. And the caution definitely played a role. Matthew Weeks comes home 7th. Cooper Johnson 8th. And hey, we can say his name. Damian Leininger comes home 9th. That's not a 12-car curse breaking, mind you. That's just a good run that he finally got, that he was well-deserved.
Good for Damian. Glad he could have a solid top 10 finish.
Daniel Martinez rounds out the top 10, by the way. Ethan Burrell comes home in 11th. Kwame Scott burns him down. We will look through the rest of that grid, as well as interview the race winner and the 2nd and 3rd place car. We just mentioned the top 10. Hank Steinmiller got trapped 2 laps down by the caution there, and much like Ryan Lutz, Tate Lytle and others, his race kind of could not be recovered, and he maximized the best he could there with that 15th place run. Adams coming back to 16th is rather impressive, given that he had to pit for a penalty of some sort early in the race. That is his best run of the season by far.
Ethan
Johnny
Burrell
Thomas.
coming through.
Yep. Johnny Thomas, 22nd on the day. Not sure what happened to Michael Goodman late. I think he got caught up by the green flag pit stops, ended up 4 laps down there. Gerald Campbell, all the way to, what's 30th, 28th? Not really what you expect from Gerald.
Scott
Robin,
Crump finishes 24th, 23rd, whatever that is there.
Pit call did not do him any favors, although Kwame Scott was on the same pit call. But he had a little bit fresher tires. He had pitted on the first caution of the race, and he didn't go a lap down. Crump did in that long, or Crump did go on a lap down in the long green run, but it just didn't work out for the 51 like it did for the 99 today.
Cameron Rich ends up finishing in 39th after that contact early in the race.
Yep, Carlos's pick didn't make it. None of our picks made it to the victory lane today. So with that, let's pull up. We'll start with third place Nick Massey for the interview here, since he jumped into the waiting room. Nick Massey, David in the booth. You got me, buddy.
Yeah, I got you.
Nick, looked like you kind of maybe drove the tires off of it there coming to the end. What happened? And did you maybe have anything you could have done differently over that last run?
Man, I don't know. After that caution, I thought I was kind of the guy there. I didn't really know who was going to be in fast that was still up there. I thought everybody that was running up there pretty much pitted and had to take the wave. But yeah, Kwame was good. It was fun racing him there. You know, his teammate, he's in my Discord, and I tried all I could. I kind of thought there was going to be another yellow at some point, so I kind of went a little harder than I probably should have. Because usually, you know, that's how these things come down to, is just a bunch of yellows. So I kind of thought we'd go a little bit and have a yellow. So I was trying to make sure I kept the lead there, and I think that might have cost me the race there, because Kwame, after I don't know how many laps, 30 laps or whatever, he was getting better runs out of the corner than I could, and I tried to hold him off and cross him over, but I just had nothing for him. I don't think I was too tight, drove the tires off of it, but man, that was a blast. I mean, just to have the green flag run like that to the end, I mean, it's definitely nice to, especially after the start of the season we had with all those other races, it's nice to have a long green flag run, close this thing out.
Yeah, Nick, and real quick, I mean, go through your decision to stay out really long on that one green flag run. I mean, you were going to be, you know, multiple laps down by the time you did pit, and Hank Steinmiller, who pitted while you guys were running side by side, ended up, you know, 2 laps down when that caution flew. You know, what was your mindset there coming to that caution flag and towards your green flag pit stop?
Oh, it really changed my mind. You know, I was going to pit probably not long after everybody else did, but then I saw, you know, Delicado turn around backwards in the pit wall. I saw a couple other guys, like 2 or 3 cars sitting down there backwards. So I was like, man, there could be a yellow here. So I kind of called, you know, Chris in my ear, kind of like, hey, I think you should stay out here. And luckily, I stayed out an extra 5-6 laps or whatever it was, and kind of worked out because everybody else was trapped a lap down. But man, I thought we were gonna get one. It's been so long, I feel like, since I've been back in victory lane. I almost had it, saw it, and it just you know, called me out, drove me there. So congrats to him. It's awesome.
Yeah, man, and talk about racing a teammate there coming to the end a little bit. You know, we were kind of speculating as to whether or not you guys would rough each other up or maybe play blockers so that the 07 couldn't win. You know, was there any communication on that front in the team chat, or was it all business coming down to the wire there?
Nah, I told him he should let me win. That was the only thing I told him. But no, I didn't realize Rexing was coming that strong until I think me and Kwame had a little contact out of 4 a little bit, door banged, and I hit the wall a little bit. But yeah, I didn't realize Rexing was closing that hard, so I kind of had to rethink, you know, if I'm gonna have another shot at Kwame, I kind of got to be smart about it. I don't want to, you know, force a move and then lose us both the race and have Rexing have a chance at it. So definitely got to rethink it when you see somebody else coming in your mirror.
Yep. Well, Nick, you got any shout outs for us here, buddy?
Yeah, shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Shout out to Kwame for winning the race. It's awesome. Another one for RRM over here. Looking forward to the rest of the season. I think this B car might be a good change. We'll see. Hopefully I'll continue talking to you a little bit here. It's been a while, I feel like.
Sounds good, man. Well, I'm glad you got to talk to us tonight, and congrats on the good run.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That was third place finisher Nick Massey. Let's bring up second place finisher Jared Rexing. Jared Rexing, David in the booth. You got me, buddy?
Yeah, what's up?
Jared, you almost got there, man. It looked like you had saved your tires right at the perfect time when they started battling. Take me through that last run and maybe anything else you could have done to get through Massey a little bit quicker.
I mean, first of all, yeah, I just got lucky with staying out and catching that caution at the right time. But I was definitely saving tires because I wasn't good on the short run at all. And when I saw them go side by side, I'm like, all right, this is my time. I caught them really quick, but once they singled it out, I just didn't have enough there at the end. Maybe if I had 4 or 5 laps, I could have got them. But all in all, I mean, it's good to come second. I don't feel like I deserved that at all. And congrats to Kwame on the win.
And Jared, take me through that earlier part of the race when you stayed out and ended up kind of falling through the field. Were you trying to save tires or save a set of tires, or trying to gain track position or figure out if the long run would play to your favor? What was your kind of idea there, which ended up being the thing that set you up for this the shorter run coming to the checkered?
Yeah, it was the wrong strategy that became the right strategy. So I pitted that caution before, and I had maybe 10 laps on my tires, and I didn't want to pit again in case it, ended up being like the last few weeks. And so I stayed out there, and I got a lap lead out of it. So, I mean, I guess that's good. And I just started dropping like a rock. And when I was back there, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to run it out and hope to catch a caution. And I did. So that's all there was to that.
All right, Jared. Well, you got any shout outs here for us before we send you off?
I'll just shout out to Johnny. Caught a lot of flack over going back to this car, but I think this race showed that it was a good move overall, even though I was one of the drivers against it. I enjoyed the COT car. I enjoyed the challenge and it being different, but it wasn't putting on good racing. So shout out to him and everyone involved with that change, and shout out to my team, and shout out to my wife, as always, rooting me on.
All right, well, thank you, Jared, and good luck the rest of the season, man. Looks like you're going to take a big step up in the points.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, that was Jared Rexing, our second place finisher, and now for race winner Kwame Scott. Kwame, it's David in the TV booth. You got me, buddy?
Yo.
I didn't get to talk to you the first time you won a race, Kwame, so congratulations on this first win. And to take you back to the early part of that race, did you think you were going to be here interviewing with us after the race?
No, to be honest. Yeah, I pitted super early, like that second caution we had on lap 17. And my team was like, whoa, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you pitting? And I was like, I think the tires might, play a little difference here. And it did, but then I stayed out that next caution, and I fell right back to the back half of the field again, and I just stayed out, and then so.
Well, take us through the idea to kind of wait and pit really late in that green flag run. What was your kind of thought process? Approaching that green flag pit stop, did you see the same things that Nick saw? Because he said that, he saw guys spinning out and wrecking everywhere, and he figured a caution was bound to happen. Were you kind of in that same boat since you guys were teammates and talking it out?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I wanted to stay out anyway because I figured, I had to make up all that track position I lost from staying out that second time. And the only way I was going to be able to get back up there is if I, just drove it to the end and hope for a caution, and it did. And yeah, it's like what Nick said, like later on in that run with the way the guys were, there was a couple of wrecks going into the pits I saw. Like it was chaos. So I figured we was gonna get it sooner or later.
Yeah, and then how about that final run, catching Nick Massey? Did you know you were going to be able to run him down there, or were you just kind of running your own pace, hoping against hope that he would, have overdriven his tires?
I I noticed I was catching him like, a lot quicker than I originally intended. I mean, I didn't realize that. I didn't think I was going to have anything for like the top guys here, but I guess everyone from that last caution was had to take the wave around, so all those guys were out the picture by that point. And not to say that like obviously me and Nick were super fast, but yeah, it was just I noticed I was catching him, and I was like, oh wow, like I actually might be able to win this race. I kind of slowed up my pace a little bit after I realized I was catching him really quickly just to like save my tires. And toward the end of that run, that's like the like lap 130, I just decided to just go for it. And yeah, it was a fun battle with my teammate.
It's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on the win, and you have any shout outs for us before we send you off?
Once again, my team, Reverence Racing Motorsports, my sponsor, HRR, all the boys back at home. Yeah, just everyone who's just been supporting me in my virtual racing career, really. So yeah, it's crazy to think that I already have 2 wins this year. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, man. Well, congratulations, and I think this does put you in the points lead as well. So good luck the rest of the way, and you're certainly looking like a threat for the championship, man.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Alrighty, that was Kwame Scott, our race winner. And Dom, that was an eventful race to say the least, but I think that's going to really, indicate that we're going to have some good races here with this Xfinity car. I mean, they did finally single it out and go green after a couple of early cautions.
No, absolutely. And it might have been a couple cautions there where guys just getting back to used to racing this B car here in ERSCA and getting used to it once again at full speed competition. But in the end, it takes us back to last year where we saw numerous great races come down to the finish, and it just sets up one here early with this change in the season with one here between 2 teammates, Kwame Scott, Nick Massey, and then Jared Rexon coming in there late and making it a 3-car battle. But I think the change was, in the end, probably going to be for the better product of the series, and I think it's going to just set up great racing down the stretch.
Yeah, this was a good race. It certainly started off rough, and some of the guys got, kind of victimized by those early wrecks. But at the end of the day, we had a good battle for the win, and a good deserving winner. Even if maybe the fastest guy on track ended up getting kind of caught by that green flag pit stop caution, and that's just part of racing. But Ryan Lutz will be back. I know he couldn't win for Grandma tonight, but he'll definitely be a force throughout the season. And what a great finish and what a great race. It's good to be back. With that, I am David Westergreen with Dom Santina, Carlos Acosta for 3YTV and ERSCA. We'll say so long for tonight, and we'll see you next week.